This is the part I was concerned with. Before we put this bottom bracket on, right, from the bottom where those two carriage bolts sit down, because this has a 3-inch lift kit from Rough Country, things were changed. The shock mount was changed, it was flipped, and there's extra pieces in here that hang down, so this is the part I was worried about, plus the tire. Don't forget about the tire. That's why I'm only doing it on one side right now. Let's see if this fits with no impeding, and everything looks okay. We'll put the tire on, and we'll have to get in there and see how close this tire is going to be, because we definitely can't have it rubbing. Hey, John here. So we got this 22 Toyota Tundra, and we're going to put this Airlift 5000 Ultimate on it. Reason being is I got a squat problem. Solves squat problems. This suspension really squats pretty good because it's got the coil over. It's only a half-ton pickup anyways, but we're just talking just a little bit of a a snowmobile trailer. It has a pretty big squat for this. So this supposedly licks it, and we're going to try to install it today and see if it does help out. I'm sure it does, but let's do this. So there's not much to this thing. A few brackets, a couple of airbags, and a bag of parts. So we'll read the directions right quick and peel these wheels off and try to get this thing hooked up today. So I got the wheel off the passenger side here, and the first few steps are you got to remove your original bumper here. It's just a 3 bolts, 2 underneath, 1 here, and we'll have to get this module out of the way. I think it looks like just these 2 bolts. We'll do that in a second, but the reason, so there's probably a few videos out there on how to install these. But one of the things that I couldn't find is I've got oversized tires, and I don't know how far the offset is. I don't know how far they come in, and I don't know where this spring is going to live as far as how far it comes out in terms of that. So this is why I'm making a video, just to see if anybody's out there that's got oversized tires. I got 35 by 12 and a half, so they're 12 and a half deep, and they're taller. I'm not worried about the tall part. I'm worried about the, coming in towards this, because obviously we can't have anything rubbing, but we'll rest. But it is good. So again, we're just going to take, I gotta get the 2 bottom ones out. I don't know if we need the hardware, but direction say just move it out of the way. Okay, so this part here, the directions say to remove this plastic piece. There is absolutely no need to do that. I'll point it out why later. It's just going to leave a hole in your frame, but you'll see later. All right, now the next step was this piece here, right? You see how it's got this indent? That goes forward towards, I'm on the passenger side, so in case I didn't mention that. But the bolts that we just took out for the balance bumper, we're going to use them. And the bolts are these little 5 millimeter Allen wrench bolts. But we're not going to tighten this up yet because we've got to use another bracket to get this aligned. And then, according to directions, we've got to take that bracket back off. So we're just going to snug these up. Oh, by the way, these bolts are going into the slotted ones to the frame. The 2 slotted ones, and I suppose if you use the wrong bracket or have it backwards, it's not going to be parallel like this. So let's just snug them up a little bit. Like I said, it's a 5 millimeter. And I'm assuming they're slotted because we're going to have to move this back and forth to align the next bracket. This next piece is this one. There's 2 pieces there, and they're different. So I guess try to put it on backwards. We don't go, but this is the way it goes. And we're trying to line this center hole up. Let's get this module out of the way. We're trying to line this center hole up and line these 2 holes here up. And these are oblong too. But I gotta go get the hardware. Right, so this part is just an alignment. Just an alignment for the bottom plate. So they basically want you to have these are original bolts. To have these bolts lined up. And then we can go ahead and tighten up the bottom also. That's all we're doing, is just making this alignment. Well, this is the original boat. Let me try one of theirs. Make sure it fits. I don't know if we're supposed to leave the supply gun or not. It fits. So we're going to go ahead and tighten it there. Oh, see how it's moving? So when I'm tightening it, it's moving a little bit. So I'm going to get a pair of vice grips and just vice grip this together so they don't move when I'm tightening it up. So we're going to take this stuff back off, and the next step, I think I pointed out, is so the directions say to take this piece off once it's aligned, but I don't see the need to do that. I did it. I'm just following the directions along, but when I did the other side, and I don't think there's a need to take it back off, but we'll just do what the direction says. There's you probably can't see it. It's right down here. It's one bolt that holds your brake hose, your emergency brake hose, to emergency brake cable hose there for just taking that out. It's just one bolt and a clip. It says remove that. Don't know why yet, but just in a second here. Here's the brake hose, by the way. It's in the picture, but so we're working on both sides. I'm doing this one side. This side with a modular passenger side. I'm not going to do the other side yet because I want to put this wheel on. After I get the spring in here, or the airbag, I want to make sure that this wheel is not going to rub on this. Otherwise, this is just a waste of money. So we got one of the air springs. The two side with the two bolts. We'll place them down. We need to fit this under whatever the. Hey, it's packed by Rick. Thank you, Rick. Says the finger tighter, right? It's already got Teflon tape on it, so finger tight. I don't think so. That's finger tight. Jeez. I'm saying 1.5 turns from there. I barely went in there. Let's see about that. Yeah, that's a half. That's one. That's pretty tight. That's half. That's the next step is to put a roll plate on it, right? This is going to go on there, and then put 2 cap bolts in. That can't be right. 2 cap bolts. All right, both of these bags were with the airlines there. But I didn't have the right bolts. These are, I think they were J or something. Packed by Rick. Oops, they're packed by Lily. So let's put these over. Set those over here. So those other hex were 5s. This is actually 5 point. Lily's are 5.5. Don't know why. But before we do that, we got to put this plate on. And this plate, it can go both ways, but ain't gonna matter on this. I'll show you. The other spring has to be the opposite. But let me put. First, we got to put these 2. There's 2 short carriage bolts. So one goes in this hole, and one goes in this hole, like so. Got this hole and this hole. Right, now it's going to fall out. Now we'll put our Lily screws in. Right. That seems like 20 to me. Oh, it's another 20. Alright, so these don't fall out. And they'll fit in the grooves. So that's what we got so far. Now we get the bottom plate, which is this fellow here. Dust on this bench. Unnecessary belt. Alright, so the bottom plate, and we're going to put, so that carriage bolt's got to sit in the indent. These are the long ones. I was going to go ahead and replace these with stainless. I just didn't get around to it, and because you know these are going to rust for sure. Alright, so we've got to flip down. We've got our carriage bolts in this way, right? So they're sitting in the hole, or in the slot there, in the groove, right? And we got a spring flipped upside down. Here's where the air fitting would be. It's on the other side. See what I'm saying? So we want the air fitting. We want this sitting like this. What we want is, I don't know if you can see this over here, this little cutout. This cutout is opposite side of the air fitting on the other side. And we want the same thing, and we bolt this together. We want these tabs on the opposite side of the air fitting, right? So if you had it like this, the tabs would be on the air fitting side. We don't want that. This is what we want. Air fitting is over here on the bottom, but the tabs are on this side. I'm trying to get this done in a hurry because I don't want this car laid up because I didn't use it and we made a huge mistake. We forgot our plate on the top. Oh boy. Oh boy. But you're really it's not a mistake if you catch it right away, right? So I'm just going to do it this way because the hole really doesn't really matter. Snug up. That'll be that. Alright, now that's better. Now I think we're going over the vehicle. Okay, currently I've got the jack stand, the red jack stand on the axle, right? But they're saying that this will go better if you lower the axle, so I just I have another jack stand here under where the trailing torsion arm there is. There's a nice little place there. So we'll jack this up a little bit, get that red one out of there, and it should sag down a little bit, and then we can install that piece. I let it drop about 4 inches, but if we need more, we can drop it more. Okay, so I did take this emergency brake one off, right? It's because I just dry fitted this. It fits over this. You just have to move this out of the way a little bit, and it straddles this. Boy, this is going to be a problem here. And reading ahead, there is we have to finagle this one way or the other. So the bolt, the long carriage bolt goes on this side of it, or you could just read the directions further, and they're saying to take this off and reverse this clip, and that'll probably stand it out. Right, so we'll do that, and if that's not far enough, then we can finagle it that way. So let's see if we can get this thing out, separate it a little bit, and flip it around. So, do a little flip action. I don't know what that's going to do. Oh, okay, it's going to make it tighter. So I was going to bend it in anyways. But reading the direction, I would have probably been alright doing it the way I was going to do it, but this clearly is a better way to do it. Goddamn. I can already see it's close to the frame there. I don't want it that close to the frame over there, so what I'm going to do is just stop it from bending here. Add a little resistance. I don't really want it touching the frame, you know. Alright. Let's see if that'll do something. Yeah, that'll work. So like I said, I got the axle dropped about 4 inches. And we're going to go in just like this. Over the top of the get this brake line out. Oop, on the other side of it. Get your emergency brake hose out of there. There we go. Get it on the other side. Oop, looks like I gotta jack it up just a hair more. Alright, so now we're going there. Alright, oh yeah. Got plenty of room. I'll show you over in a second. So, once again, we gotta get this hose out of the way. Get it up on top. We ain't got there yet. But it is clear over here on this brake line by at least a finger, and put the finger through there, so that's cool. Do we lower it yet? I don't know. So now we gotta raise my lights are going out. We gotta raise this up. We gotta do the top part first. We gotta get this all secured, get this there's that one bracket. I'll do it. We gotta get that top bracket on. Then we lined up in step one or something. We gotta bolt this top piece together. So we do have to raise this back up. I put both springs together. This is the spring for the right side because the bolts aren't lining up. I was like, what do I do? So we gotta take this back out and put the other one back in because as you, well, you can't see it. The cutout here is supposed to be forward on this plate and on the inside, so it's not like we could spin it. So I gotta get the other airbag in there. So I'm gonna put this in. Come out without lowering it. Oh, maybe. Oh yeah. Oh, so we don't have to lower this thing. We could just go sideways. Yeah, that'll work. Let me get the other one. Let me get the other one before we start making big mistakes. Let's try this again. So this is the right side, the correct side, the right side, the passenger side. I put them both together and I forgot that this cutout needs to go forward, right? This fitting here is opposite of this cutout, and it's also opposite of the flanges down here, right? Fitting, flanges on the upside, but goes this way. So we'll put it back in with the correct one. It's a little easier to come from the side here, a lot easier than going over the top, but it is the same position as we would. We can get that started. Obviously we're going to have to get a wrench in there. Can't get a socket in there. You can see what size wrench this is. No way we're going to get a socket in there, right? And I'm going to get that bolt back. Alright, so those back bolts were 14. We're going to sink in here. 14 in the back here. And you have to get the opening on this side. The opening, my ratchet wrench wouldn't fit in there. So tighten up there. The ratchet will fit in this way, but you're not going to be able to get a socket in there. So I got them tight in these last two here. Just need to go in and we'll tighten that up. And I already tightened this bolt here in the center up. So we're getting to the point 20 pounds, or I think it's 16 pounds. 16 pounds of torque, if you're interested. Alright, this is the part I was concerned with. Before we put this bottom bracket on, right, from the bottom where those two carriage bolts sit down, because this has a 3-inch lift kit from Rough Country, things were changed. The shock mount was changed, it was flipped, and there's extra pieces in here that hang down, so this is the part I was worried about, plus the tire. Don't forget about the tire. That's why I'm only doing it on one side right now. Let's see if this fits with no impeding and, everything looks okay. We'll put the tire on and we'll have to get in there and see how close this tire is going to be, because we definitely can't have it rubbing. We'll put this piece on too. This is just the original, one of the original bolts from, when we took that off. And then a supplied washer and nut. We'll do the trick on that. Actually, I think it'll try to be a little easier this way. Split washer. Nut. Tighten that down. I think that was it. I think it was a 14 too. That's a wrench in there. I don't think I have a 12 wrench. I got a 12 wrench. Anyways, we'll tighten that up. That's the module. Right? Not sure if it's this hole, but this hole is bigger, so I'm pretty sure we're going to use this hole. That'll be tightened up too today. Before I go any further, I don't like that at all, having that exposed. This is the piece we took out. There's absolutely, this thing's thin. There's absolutely no reason I can see that we need to have this out. I'm going to loosen this back up, take this and put this back in there. That's just ridiculous. Yeah, I just took the 3 bolts off. I left the back one and I loosened this one. I think there's enough room to get in there. Let's shove this back in there. Yeah, that's just foolishness, leaving that off like that. That's just crazy. So we're gonna this has a square side and a round side, and the round side needs to be out. You'll see by the axle, it kind of flattens out right here. So if this piece fits, and I'll take in there. I'll show you in a bit, but it looks like it's going to clear, and having my lift kit in there is not going to impede anything, because like I said, this piece here, I don't know if you can see or not, probably not. I'll try to get you a shot of, so I did move this bolt to the wider one, so it's, it's in there, because it looked like the airline might impede. I don't know yet. I think the airline's just going to go backwards, but so we tighten all these up. That's all good. And the part I was worried about was this clearing, this carriage bolt. Let me see if I can get better light here. Yeah. So that's the bracket on the bottom that goes this way, and this bracket here was part of the lift kit, and it clears no problem. And the only part I'm concerned with, I did relocate this brake. The brake hose was down. Where was it? It's behind it. You can't see it, but it was down there. So you move it up to this tab on the new bracket there, and everything clears. So that's good. The part I'm concerned with is because this has a 3-inch lift. When I sucked everything down, it did, because this is about where the ride height is, because I jacked it back up, with the axle. So this is about where the ride height is. So that's the part I'm concerned with. It is hooked up. The air is not hooked up. I mean, everything's, the way it's got to be. And hopefully this will work out all right, because like I said, it's a 3-inch lift kit, but I don't know if this thing's designed for a 3-inch lift kit. And this is the other side. That's how that bracket comes in. And we just scooch them up in this bracket here. Sits flat on the axle, and you can see over there, it's square, over the square part. So it's solid. Now we're going to put the wheel on and see if we're going to get any impedance, this way in. And hopefully, once that goes, we'll hook up the air lines and see if, having this thing stretched out a little bit more than usual is going to affect this airbag. I don't think so, because when we put weight in the back of this truck, this thing squats pretty good. So having the air is just going to get it back to a normal ride height. This might be a little bit stretched out, the airbag, because when I was sucking it in, those long bolts down there, this did go down. Okay, so I'm at the point now. I just put the tires back on, and I've got the vehicle jacked up with the axle. So this will be the normal ride height. The reason I want to do this, I want to make sure that tire, right, is going to clear the airbag, and we got plenty of room there. And the top of the tire, which you probably can't see, with the, well, maybe you can, with the bracket coming out. When I was looking at this kit, I was like, I wonder, how far your wheel goes in, because you can't really tell. You got to get measurement. But anyways, I've got it on, and everything's going to clear. Now the next part is, and I've got this as if this was a stock vehicle. So this has a 3.5-inch lift. So putting this, long bolts there, putting that lower bracket on and sucking it up, it actually extended the airbag. Okay, we're underneath the bottom of the truck, or underneath the truck here. This is the top of the bracket of the airlift system, and this is there's no bracket here, but the bracket would sit on this axle, right? So it's 9 inches between here and there, and this truck is unloaded, just sitting here on flat ground, and I need to find the difference, or the spacer involved, right? Because when I let me show you over here. All right, so we're over on the other side, and this side is still hooked up. So when I hooked this up, there was a gap here, right? And I just tighten it down, and this is probably supposed to, I'll have to measure the other one. It's supposed to be around 6 inches. It's measuring 7 1/4, so it stretched it out 1 1/4 inch, and we could probably use it like that, but I'm going to put a spacer in here. I just need to find out what kind of spacer. So I did order an airlift spacer, a 3-inch airlift spacer, and a 2-inch airlift spacer. But I'm probably just going to make my own, because I wasn't sure when I ordered them what size to use. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to undo these bolts and let this spring, or this airbag, go back to its normal position. And if it doesn't, if it stays stretched out, I'll get the other one. I'll get like I said, the other one's on a bench. This should be 6 inches as far as I think. Either I'll go measure that in a second. But so I need to find out the difference between this plate and this ring here, how much it is. I'm guessing it's probably going to be about an inch and a quarter. All right, so that this is a spring, the air spring here. So the difference, this sits on the axle, right? So from the axle underneath to the top plate where this thing mounts to is about 8 3/4, almost 9 inches. Between 8.5 and 9 inches, we'll say. And if this was sitting, and the other underneath the truck, I think it measured 7 something, I forgot, but from ring to ring, this is only 6 inches from this bottom ring to the top ring. The whole thing is about 7 inches from the bottom to the top. So I've got mine stretched out about, like I said, about an inch, maybe a little more. And that might be too much. I don't need much of a spacer here. The truck has a 3.5 inch lift on it, but that doesn't mean that the rear end is lifted 3.5 inches. It doesn't really matter what the lift kit is. I'm just trying to find a difference between, you know, the space to take up. Right now it's stretched out about an inch and a quarter, which I think might be a little too much. Again, I do want it at least at this level, or at least a little bit stretched out. I don't want it compressed. Like I said before, the reason I don't want it compressed is because if it's already starting to compress, you know, if this thing was squished down a little bit, and then you put a load on it, it's even going to go further. So when you raise it back up with air, it's only going to go up to that point, right? So if you have a little stretched out, you know what I'm saying? And then you put a load on the truck and it goes, you know, down, you're just going to have more travel to get it back to level. So that's what I'm thinking. So I have this it's aluminum piece of 3/16 aluminum. It used to be a ramp, but it got ran over by a car, so it's all twisted up. But I'm going to make the spacers out of this just by I'll show you cutting holes the size of what the bellows are, just a little bit bigger than the bellows. And I actually made a piece earlier out of stainless, and this is what the bellow size would be, right? So I'm just going to use this as a template. Take the plasma cutter, just keep cutting a bunch of, right, just clamp this, cut a bunch of holes, and then stack them up to what would be closest to an inch, and just then use this template to drill the holes, because these are exact holes on the back of the plate, or one of those bellow rings or whatever you want to call them. Alright, so the plasma cutter leaves it pretty rough on the left there. This camera won't zoom in, of course. So I hit it with a flat or a coarse, grinding wheel, and then followed up with a flap disc wheel. It's going to get it close. And also, what I'm going to do is, this ended up being this ended up being exactly an inch. Actually, a 1/16 under an inch, which is what I wanted. I want an inch or close to an inch as I can. It's a little over 7/8, in between 7/8 and an inch. It's perfect, because that's all I need. I didn't want to stretch it out an inch and whatever it was, as you saw in the truck. I wanted to be kind of, the bag to be almost where it should be. A little bit of a stretch, I didn't mind, and that's what it's going to be, less than an eighth of an inch stretch. And I'm also going to put Gorilla Tape all around this, because this is all aluminum. I still have to drill holes, with the template there, drill the holes. I'll drill holes through all of them at the same time, obviously, but I'm going to also put Gorilla Tape all around this aluminum, because aluminum on steel, even though that stuff's powder coated, probably wouldn't do anything. I just want to put a protective barrier between the aluminum and steel, so you don't get that corrosion, that Alka-Seltzer white crap that makes everything fall apart over time. So I ended up putting a self-tapper through the center. This way I can let this go, and we can put it, and I'll grind this off clean. I'll grind that half off. I'll grind that down to smooth, and I'll hold it together while we put the template over it and drill through it, take it over the press. I just went to the store, so I needed longer hardware for this new thing, and I'm going to replace all the hardware, even the long bolts, everything with stainless. So I did need to, I don't know what those regular bolts, I think these are like 3/4 inch, maybe an inch, but I needed longer. But this probably won't rust, but the other ones, the carriage bolts, I replaced all these with stainless just because, well, I'm there. So we go like this. Right? And then, yeah, this plate will go on top. Right, so, let's see if these bolts are long enough. And that's something that's going to look like something like that. Right? And, of course, the carriage bolts, the long carriage bolts, like I said, I went and got stainless for everything. You're supposed to put them in first. They go in these holes, and they would be this way, though. Right? They would stick up from here, and then your bracket on the bottom would grab the apps. You know, obviously this is upside down, but I just wanted to see if, so that's what it looks like. So I'm going to clean this up a little more, and like I said, I'm going to put the tape, the Gorilla Tape, that black Gorilla Tape over this to protect this aluminum from steel. Well, of course, I don't have enough tape to do the barrier like I would want it to. I did the edges there, so at least inside, you know, looking at the vehicle it'll be covered. But I am going to throw paint on here. I'm going to paint it up just because I don't want this aluminum touching steel, even though it's powder coated. It's just anyways, I was just thinking, you can make, if you have enough scrap metal, you can keep stacking it up as far as you want. So these are 1 inch, that's all I'm needing. That's what I'm thinking anyways. We'll see in a minute. I'll hook it up. But can we get him in his place? Goes this way. No, hell no. We gotta go way down. So we're gonna drop that axle a ton more. So we can't forget about our brake line here. So let's see. See if we can, yeah, I think there's going to be just enough room. I got to start that nut though. I definitely got to start that nut. Oh, you bastard. There ain't no getting that with a magnet. Alright. A little tricky starting these things. They go up more. They go up more. And fall on there again. Yeah, it's just like they don't give you much room here. Insufficient storage space on the camera. I tell you, man, the camera I had before was a Canon, and it started messing up with the lens got messed up and started fogging up. So I said, let me get a new camera, and I looked at I wanted a Canon again, and they're like $500. I was like, started looking around. So that seems like a good deal, the one you're looking through, and it's junk. It's a couple $100, but the autofocus really sucks, and the audio is terrible. I've got an external mic on it. The audio was so bad. The initial thing I was looking at or listening to, it's still bad though. Anyways, here we are. What was that? A size? Was it a 9/16? It is a 9/16. All right, those are carriage bolts. So I'm gonna cinch this up. Right, I'm gonna cinch these two things up, and what's that noise? We're gonna run out of room, and they're gonna be close. Anyways, this one should go right through that little slot there. All right, before I do the other side, I might as well put this airline on now, because so the airline comes with it's just one airline. It's got two fittings on each end, so I just stretched out and halved it. Right, so just you know, wherever I'm going to route it, I've got an idea back there, but cut it square, and I think you just, this is one of those quick connects where you just insert, yeah, it's like a barb deal where it's like, won't come back out. So let me go get the cap, and I'll tuck it up above the spare tire, so we can put the wheel on. Actually, let me, while I'm in here, let me go ahead and zip tie it, at least in this spot here, because I can get to everything else. All right, so we got both sides done, and I nipped off those little end bolts, or the end of the shackle bolts, or the long bolts rather. So that's what it looks like on this side. And I ran the hose, the air hose, up along this frame, and I just got it coiled up right here. For now, I think what I'm going to do is same thing over here. Just from the you know, from the fitting on the top of that, just on the top of the frame, just kind of secured it to another loom there. And I think I'm going to put mine on this upper panel here. Damn light. See where that wire is coming right about here. But it's rigid enough to, obviously it's holding a you know, a loom there for the tailgate. So I'm going to go right next to that with one, and right about here for another one. Just because when the gate goes down, I don't want to have the thing sticking out here or here, just because, you know, stuff falling out of the gate or stepping on this, you know, I don't want to be stepping on it. So having it up under here, it's kind of hidden out of the way, and you can't step on it, and the gate's still going to come down and not affect that. So I'm going to do that. All right, so here's where I went with mine. One there, right? And like I said, not going to be able to step on them. They're out of the way. The gate will come down and clear. I'll show you underneath where we're ended up routing it. So I came, like I said, from the everything's in the way, top of that thing, and accessed right up in there. Plenty of room to work. Same thing with the other side. There's plenty of room to work, and just zip tied it to the original loom. Anyways, let's put some air in this, see if it works. Okay, so I did go with the separate air lines instead of teeing it like I see some people do. That doesn't bother me, filling both up one at a time. So anyways, that's what it looks like with no air in it. And I'll put 5 pounds in it, just to see what that looks like. That's about 5 pounds. And then I'll go up to 10 pounds. I can feel the truck raising. That's about 10 pounds. That's 15 pounds. That's 25 pounds. Let me go up to 40 pounds, see what that looks like. That's 40 pounds. 40 pounds of air, and it's hard as a rock. I did see the thing go up, so I'm just going to go ahead and check for leaks while I've got this in the air. And then I do have to pick up a pallet of pellets. We're going to see what this thing looks like. I know what it looked like before. It was all squashed, looked like a broken axle. Alright, so I wasn't sure on these aftermarket airlift systems, not just from the company Airlift, any of these, Firestone, whatever. Wasn't sure how they were going to work. I got to tell you though, man, this is, I think every truck should have this system. I know there's stock trucks that, come stock with airlift systems, but I can't believe this, how good this works, is what I'm getting at. So that's a few thousand pounds in the back, and that's a pallet of pellets there, which I don't know the exact weight, but this truck is overloaded. This is a half-ton pickup truck, and without this airlift system, this looks like it's got a broken axle. I'll let the air out and show you how bad this thing squats. So that's what it looks like with no air in it. Basically a broken axle. I'll give you the measurement in a second. But if you from the vehicle, basically the front of the vehicle is way higher. So this measurement here is looking like 52. And that's 57. So just, and that's 70 pounds of air, and I think the max you can go up to is 100 pounds. for that airbag there. So if I could put 100 pounds there, I'd just raise it up more, but that looks about level there at 70 pounds. And the difference is, what I said, 52 and 57. I mean, it's just huge. And it rides good going down the road. You wouldn't even know this was a little wimpy half-ton pickup. So there's an onboard compressor that you can include in this system. I chose not to go that route just because it's pretty pricey, and it lives under your vehicle, and I live in the Northeast. That thing's going to be toast in a matter of probably less than a year. So I'm just going to, the times that I use this is a pallet of pallets. I'll probably get 2-3 pallets max for the season. So obviously I'm going to use it for that, to level it out. And when I tow my snowmobile trailer, it does squat. So the few times that I'm going to use it, I'm just going to buy one of those cheap compressor that you plug into a cigarette lighter, and that'll do the trick. You could probably use a bicycle pump as far as that goes. But anyways, that's where I'm at with this. This thing worked out way better than I thought it would. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.